What does it mean to have personal freedom? Free ourselves from what? Because we are all living, we are all having a life. So how do we free ourselves? Well, we need to free ourselves from our mind. A person will never be happy. Doesn't matter what they have, but they won't be happy if they cannot stop the stories in their head, the negative stories that are limiting their beliefs and their happiness. Those stories are usually surrounded by fear and anxiety. They make you fearful about the past, what you already lived, that you didn't like those experiences, and they make you anxious about the future. So how can you do it? How can you free your mind so that you can free yourself? The first thing is to create awareness. In order to create awareness, we need to admit the stories that pop into our minds. For example, I cannot be successful because I am not smart, or I'm afraid of public speaking. I don't have enough talent. I'm not worthy of success. All of those stories are actually limiting what we do and what we achieve, because we are starting to believe that those things are true. When those stories pop into your head, be conscious about them. Be conscious that you're having a made-up story by yourself that is not true. The worst things that we can think are I can't, I have to do this, I won't. They all start with I, meaning our ego. So we do not want to diminish our ego. That's why we make those stories. If you keep having negative emotions from your past, you are going to destroy your future. The next thing we need to do is to give up the weaknesses from the past. Give up the weaknesses of negative stories. If you are afraid of public speaking and then saying to yourself that you are very funny or that you are a great speaker or whatever, you know it's a lie because you don't believe that. You usually tell all of those dramatic stories. I can't, I won't, I have to do this, whatever the story, to feel a victim. You are addicted to being the victim. Why is that? Well, victims have the attention. So whenever people say, hey, you can do this, you can open up a company or whatever because you hate your job. No, I can't, I don't have what it takes, or I'm not good at it, I don't have talent, I don't have a great idea, I don't, whatever. They're going to tell you the opposite. No, you can't. Of course you are talented, of course you can do it. You will continue denying that because you want to be the victim. You are addicted at being the victim. And so you go around with everyone that you can telling your bad story to victimize yourself so that they can adore you, tell you positive things and make you feel important. The other thing that happens here is that we start needing things to make those stories a reality. So we need to play the whole part. For example, we need stability because we are afraid of, the unknown. So stability means you need money, you need a relationship with someone that maybe it's a really dependent relationship. You need the job that you hate, that job make you stability. And so you start creating all of those circumstances around that story that you made up. You need comfort. You hate to struggle because you think you can't pass that problem. You need power because you want to feel important or you want to be recognized. You want to feed your ego. You want security. That security is going to give you someone or something. That's why you buy a Louis Vuitton bag. That's why you buy a watch, a car, whatever. You want to feel safe and you want to belong to a certain group. You want attention. That's why you tell your story. That attention, it's making you important. You want help. You want to feel needed. You want to feel that if you cannot give help to someone, perhaps they can give help to you. So you will be needed. And you think about money as the end, not as the means. And that is a mistake. You want to achieve something in order to have money or buy something with money. I want to have the best job because I want to have the best house. House is something that money can buy, right? It's not an emotion, it's not a sensation, a feeling, whatever. But when we want a house as the end or money as the end, money is never going to make us happy. So then we have to jump to one another thing. So we need to want money as a mean. And the third thing is we need to be able to surrender the negativity and surrender all of these emotions and all of these stories from the past. We need to admit to ourselves that we are having this behavior and that we are making up those stories. That is the first step. Admit to ourselves. Okay, I admit that I like to have the attention. That's why I tell everyone my dramatic story, because I want to feel important. I admit that to myself. In order to change a pattern or a habit that's been there for years, we need to focus one day at a time. So we need to practice today not having the attention by being the victim. We need to start being happy about our lives. What happens if we zoom in our story? What will happen? For example, if we are having the thought that we are afraid of public speaking, why? Let's zoom in that story. What was the beginning of that story? Why we are afraid? Well, because our brothers or sisters told us when we were young that we were very funny or we were very lame or that we suck at it, whatever. So we hate being embarrassed. Okay, so you are afraid of being embarrassed, not about public speaking. Okay, but you associate public speaking with embarrassment. Why do you feel embarrassed? Because you don't want to make a mistake, because you don't want to admit that you have weaknesses or that you are not perfect. So you are afraid of that. Okay, so start to see how the story is going to a deeper reason, usually from something that we lived from the past or that someone told us. And why is that? Why you don't want to admit that you have to practice, that you made a mistake, that you are not good at something, for example? Well, because of your ego. Because that's stronger than you. Because your ego is perfect, your ego does not make a mistake. So you cannot afford to stand up in the public and make a mistake and weakness your ego. That is the reason. What happens if we start destroying that idea? What happens if we stand up in our office between two classmates or whatever, we start practicing public speaking? We will start to get the attention, but not because we are a victim, but because we actually have something to say, and that is going to empower us, and that is going to give us a meaning. So the more we practice, the more confidence and strength we will have, and we will start defeating our ego. So practice one of your negative stories whenever you can. Practice once a day. Make small exercises. You don't have to go big, but start practicing to make you feel better and to stop associating that story to yourself, because it's not true. It's something that we made up. And the more you do that, the more you will start freeing yourself. Most people in this planet are victims of their minds. That's why they cannot achieve anything. That's why they end up dying, living the life that they didn't want to live, but the life that they thought was best for their mind. Stop making those stories paralyze you and start pursuing your dreams. You will start seeing that you have more power and that you are bigger than those stories, and that those stories only exist inside your head. People don't actually perceive you that way. It's just how you do it. So stop telling lies to yourself and start actually discovering your true potential.